Back YouTube, MN250 here. Today we're going to be doing a 6-month update video on my 2009 Audi S5 here. Today we're going to be talking about some of the things I've experienced over the last 6 months with this vehicle, problems I've had, wear and tear to the vehicle, and some other stuff along the way. We're also going to be doing a sort of re-review of this vehicle, even though we've already done one once before. Just want to take you guys along for the ride today. Hope you enjoy this content. Let me know in the comment section below what you guys think of this new mic setup I have going on here. Appreciate anything you guys have to say. Let's go along for the ride.
Hold me close till I get up. Time is barely on our side. I don't want to waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't want to waste what's left.
Alright guys, we're back in the Audi S5 today. When I was looking at some of the comments from my last Audi video that I put up, just had a few comments stating of some things I should have done differently. Whether that be looking at the engine, whether that be getting a better view of the interior. And while we're at it, we've officially reached the 6-month point of ownership for this vehicle. To make your review a little bit better, hopefully, I have implemented this mic setup, so I guess we'll see if it works. If it doesn't work, you guys are going to depend on the GoPro camera microphone for this review and update. I've had this 2009 Audi S5 since about mid-February or so. Now it being August, it's been about 6 months. Now during my ownership period of this vehicle, there have been 3 main issues with it. Initially when I picked up the car, something they said they had fixed, which was one of the emission control valves, some sort of air pump that helps burn up unburnt fuel, was still bad. So I brought the vehicle back in, they replaced that, and that turned off the check engine light. About a month or 2 later, my wife called me saying on her way to work that the vehicle was stuttering and it was braking really hard all of a sudden, and it was slowing itself down rather quickly, bringing to mind some brake issues. So we brought the vehicle directly to Audi of Minneapolis at that point, who diagnosed the problem as a seized brake caliper. Now being an Audi, it's not like you can just run down to O'Reilly's and pick up parts for this vehicle, at least not brand new parts. So Audi ordered the brake caliper from Germany or wherever they come from, and it came within a couple weeks. So they had our vehicle for a couple weeks, and that's when you guys got to see some of the newer Audi products that I was able to review, because they did comp us a rental vehicle for the time that that vehicle was being repaired. While in the shop, the vehicle, again, like we thought it was a brake caliper that was seized up. Audi replaced the brake caliper. If I haven't purchased a warranty with this vehicle, we would have been in some hot water with this repair bill. It did end up being $900 to fix the vehicle without a warranty. Luckily we had the warranty, they fixed it all, didn't cost us anything for a rental or anything, and that solved the problem. And now the vehicle runs flawlessly. I was a little soured by this experience initially just because I'd only owned the vehicle for 2 months. I was really hoping that nothing would go wrong with it, that I could just drive it, have fun with it, take pictures of it, do all the fun things, and not have to worry about maintenance items. So on the 4th of July, we were driving down to my sister-in-law's apartment. And in Minnesota, we have a lot of potholes just due to the freezing and thawing. During the winters, it cracks the roads up. It can be pretty terrible at times. Hit a pretty deep pothole. Didn't notice anything. I was sitting next to the vehicle about a week or so ago and noticed that one of the tires was bulging. Originally when we purchased the vehicle, it had about 50% of its life left on some Michelin Pilot Sport something or another's. Pretty nice tires. I thought they were kind of loud. That was another problem that we had with it. We just thought it drove down the road kind of loud for a luxury vehicle that's supposed to be fairly quiet. So I actually got that issue fixed today through a set of General something tires on it. Don't know the brand of them. They were about $180 a tire. All said and done, $950 worth of tires just for one bad one, and the rest of them had decent life left, unfortunately. But We have a brand new set of rubber now. Should be good for a couple years, and got the warranty on those too. So redoing some of the review portion I did before, some details about the vehicle I think are pertinent to today's video. So here they are. Like I previously stated, today we are in the 2009 Audi S5. Now in 2009, the Audi S5 sported a 4.2 liter V8, mated to a 6-speed automatic transmission. There was also a 6-speed manual option that you could get as well. This engine pushes out around 350 horsepower and 330 foot-pounds of torque, bringing you 0 to 60 in about 4.9 seconds. Now that would be on a brand new vehicle that doesn't have any sort of carbon buildup or age to its engine. I bet you it's somewhere around that currently. It is a pretty fun vehicle to zip around on the roads. It has a nice low little gurgle to it, but nothing excessive. To get some excessive noise out of this vehicle, you would have to change the exhaust system to hear a little bit more. Now in terms of build quality, I think the build quality of the 2009 Audi S5 is superb compared to other used vehicles that I've looked at and driven throughout the years. I think the materials and the way they're put together definitely is at a higher level than something you would get out of Nissan or Toyota, who are servicing a different type of customer. Most of the time that customer is me, but in this case we got ourselves an Audi. A few complaints that I have in terms of interior functionality. The left driver window in this vehicle does seem to have some sort of gasket leak. If you're going down the highway or going through a car wash or something, sometimes you'll hear some wind noise through there. As well as in the car wash, if the window gets sprayed directly at the right point, you do get a little bit of water that comes into it. Not when it's raining, but high pressure sprayers will get some water into the car because the window itself is frameless and actually does go down as you open the doors and then back up when you close the doors. So I'm guessing there's some weather stripping there that is pushed out of the way and it's not sealing properly. My particular vehicle does have the carbon fiber trim pieces, as well as the Audi's drive select mode. So I have the comfort, auto, dynamic, and individual modes, which allow me to customize how my vehicle is driving, the sensitivities in both the suspension, the throttle, the steering input. Some other complaints that I have about the interior on this particular vehicle, whoever owned it before me managed to jam a bunch of CDs into the CD changer. I got most of it working currently, but I just don't use who uses CDs anymore. So that's not the end of the world. I also couldn't find a Bluetooth adapter for the Audi multimedia interface that was reasonable. So what I ended up doing is just getting a FM transmitter. Most of the interior has a nice soft feel to it. The steering wheel is sturdy. It is a fully rounded steering wheel. It's not the flat bottom like you get in the RS series vehicles. Seats are comfortable. The left seat does have a little bit of a tear in it that we purchased it with. A couple $100, I bet you I could get myself a new seat. Right now we're not going to worry about that though. Alright guys, so we're going to go over the interior parts of the Audi S5. That's something that I forgot in the last video, so here it is. Working our way around, we've got the light controls right here as well as the dash dim and bright fog lamps. You've got your hood latch down here, which will pop and I'll show you guys the hood in a second here. Typical gauge cluster, tachometer, speedometer. You've got some steering wheel controls, just allow you to scroll through the center gauge cluster, as well as volume, and then for dialing your phone, you do have a voice button right there. The cool thing about this vehicle is it is a smart key. So looking down here at the center console, we'll get it started up. Got your little button here, foot on the brake, and you hear the vehicle come to life. Nice little S5 animation up on the dash. Now this screen up here is not a touch screen. This screen is just controlled by the center console here, Audi's interface system. You've got your typical vents and so on. Audi 6-disc CD changer I mentioned, or I will mention later on, that this is kind of a pain in the butt if you jam CDs in there or if you use any sort of aftermarket CD that's not normal. Audi drive select modes right there, turning your traction control off, and that button there. Now, the climate controls are one thing in this car that are rather frustrating. The thing about the climate controls is you have to hit this button, and then you have to turn the temperature knob, like you're increasing or decreasing the temperature, and then select it down in the middle. Temperatures is controlled by a twist of the knob, heated seats, your fan position, and so on. Typical 6-speed automatic shifter, nothing too fancy about that. Got your electronic parking brake, on and off button. These are all your functions for your multimedia system. Got your nav buttons, info, car select mode. The cool thing about this is this allows you to put the windshield wipers in service mode, as well as change your drive select modes, setup, so on. These little 4-corner buttons, they reference onto the screen, and that's your selector. Volume control, FM, CD aux, name, telephone, as well as your forward and backward buttons. Passenger side is fairly usual. When you open up the glove box in here, you've got your Audi multimedia interface system flap. Basically that allows you to place their little dongle in there, use USB, auxiliary. I think they do sell some aftermarket Bluetooth adapters as well. Other than that, that's pretty standard. Passenger door just has your lock, unlock, window buttons, as well as your Bang & Olufsen systems. Nice driver front seat, stamped with the S5 logo. These seats are very nice. They are nice and bolstered, allowing you nice comfort around turns. Keeps you nice and tight and sucked into the seat there. Going around the back, you do have a cup holder to the right of the seat. Again, nice S5 stamped leather seats. There's a 4-seater, not a 5. That center seat there is just for storage. You do have a pass-through to the trunk. And the other side, pretty standard. And the coat. From sitting in the back of the car myself, it is a pretty roomy back seat. I'd say if you're up to 6 feet tall, you can fit back there for a short period of time. No problem at all. It is pretty comfortable with the controls on the back of the seat to push the driver or passenger seat forward or backward. Moving up to the controls on the headliner. I know that light is kind of bright, but we got the doors open here. Right here you have your roof control, as well as your reading lamps. A nice sunglass holder right there. In terms of exterior quirks from the last 6 months, there have been very few. The exterior of the vehicle seems to be holding up fairly well. I have noticed, now that there's not as much snow and stuff around, the vehicle isn't covered, that I do have a little bit of rust bubbling up, or a little paint bubbling on the rear driver's side fender. I do plan on bringing it in to see if there's anything we can do to get it fixed, maybe a new piece of metal welded in. I'm sure there's some sort of solution for that. I believe I'm outside of Audi's rust repair warranty that they offer for their vehicles, which is pretty comprehensive. It's usually like 10 or 11 years for 100,000 miles. One thing that I don't like on the exterior of this vehicle, it is very hard to keep clean. It is a black vehicle, so any amount of pollen or dust in the air does settle on the vehicle, making it dirty. Just kind of makes it look crappy overall. Another thing is the brakes. The braking itself is nice, but the dust it produces coats the wheels every week or so in just a huge amount of brake dust. I have to go get the whole vehicle washed, and then I have to wipe down all the wheels to keep them looking good and not streaking with dust and residue from the brakes. After talking to a few people, they say that this is a pretty regular thing. You can switch to the carbon brakes. The only downside to that is you're going to get quite a bit more braking noise, screeching, howling, whatever, than the traditional organic style brake pads, which I believe this one has based on the amount of dust it produces. Last 6 months with this vehicle have been pretty good overall. I think it's a super comfortable, fun vehicle. It's less of a sports car and a performance vehicle and more of a GT cruiser. You do get the speed, the sound, the tight controls and everything that you'd want to have a sports car, but 0 to 60 speed and responsiveness and weight is more along the lines of a GT cruiser. It is a nice straight line car though, but does suffer from a little bit of body roll doing due to its heavy weight. But anyways, the reason we purchased this car was because it seemed more reliable and more of a safe option compared to the BMW 650 that we were looking. And that's the last point I want to make today, guys. On a video or on a vehicle or a car or whatever word you want me to use like this, I think it's very important that you look into your options for warranties when purchasing something that's one, European, and two, this expensive to fix. Just because you will save yourself a large amount of money. I've already spent, probably half the car's warranty value in repairs. Or I didn't spend it, the warranty company. So that brings me to the question of the day today, guys. I always like to give you an opportunity to participate in the comment sections below. What kind of European vehicle would you purchase, given the opportunity and money wasn't an option? But as always, like, comment, and subscribe. I love you. Keep the rubber side down, and we'll see you next time.